All right, so we have here the Atowak Drift, and this is a very unique watch, probably the most unique watch that you're going to see on the channel. Now, the name Atowak is not just some random name. It actually is inspired by Caesar's cipher back in the Julius Caesar times when they sent encrypted messages. So this actually means unique. Probably not a bad name for this watch, because that's exactly the first thing I use to describe this particular watch. So when we take a look at this is actually what they call a wandering hour. Why would you call this a wandering hour, Average Joe? Well, when we turn the crown, we actually bring it out to the first position, which is the only position. You'll notice that these will change. So what this really is, and I'm going to show you guys a demonstration here from the Atowak site. It's 4 arms, and they actually house these 3 rocket-looking mechanisms, and there's actually like this crescent-shaped metal piece that these actually get activated on, and that actually turns these numbers. And it is such a revolutionary way of telling time. This is definitely something that took some time to engineer, and I must say kudos to Atowak for doing this. However, I feel like there was a missed opportunity, because as you saw in that graphic there, that was pretty neat how that was done. And I think they could have done some type of exhibition window here to show that happen. Because right here, there's not a lot happening here. I mean, you know, you don't even get the chance to see the seconds. Like the Atowak Drift light version. They have a light version. You could actually see the seconds ticking away. Here, you can't even tell if the watch is working unless you flip the watch over. And as you can see, it is a hacking movement, by the way, because there you go. When we push the crown in. So there you go with that. So when we take a look at the dial itself, you do see that the sapphire is essentially, I mean, what looks like a seat cushion, or one of those things that you put around your neck, right? When you fly on an airplane, you put this around your neck. This is not something that you would just pick up out of the parts bin. This is something that has to be created. Now, you see this little, it looks like a racetrack, and that's exactly what it is. And this actually has loom, and actually the dial also has loom, and so do those numbers. And we'll see a loom shot here. Really cool. Super Luminova. All right. The dial itself is made of copper and aviation aluminum. And it looks like we've got like some Geneva striping there, which is just an illusion. But it's a nice detail. It really is. And that really does pop. And gives an ordinarily plain dial kind of just some pop, you know. I mean, here it looks like we've got a speedometer from 0 to 60. And this is how you tell the time, guys. It's actually not very hard at all. As you can see, it's 8:35. And that 8 will carry on until it reaches that 60 mark. And once it reaches that 60 mark, you could see where the 9 o'clock then takes over. And then we tell the time that way. So we got 9:05, 9:10, and we've got the marks in between that will indicate the time. So that's really, really cool. As you can see, 9:30. And when we take a side view, you could see the 3 numbers that are, so it's like a almost like a Chinese star, I guess you could say, right? Very, very neat. And they're all applied with Super Luminova. Very revolutionary. I have to give these guys a lot of credit for creating this, because in order for you to get any type of technology like this, you have to spend upwards to $100,000 for a URWERK. Those watches are very innovative. Of course, they use Swiss movement. This one here is actually using a Miyota movement. This is actually the Miyota 9015. And as you can imagine, this is a redesigned and modified Miyota movement. Very nicely decorated, by the way. I mean, you could see the striping in the back that actually matches what you see in the front. So very nice job tying that together, I have to admit. We do get sapphire front. I don't know if we get sapphire in the back. Let's test that out and see. All right, so we have sapphire in the front, and we actually get sapphire in the rear. So that's a nice touch. Not necessary, but definitely a nice touch. So there you go with that. You do get the AK rotor, which is the Atowak logo, and it is done in black. I like the fact that they add that personal touch as opposed to just, you know, using the Miyota rotor. We do get some design work here with the Atowak and automatic. You do see kind of like those cutouts there. Again, just added detail to the dial to make it a little bit more extraordinary. You do see I have the polishing cloth out because there is a lot of polish on this bezel. And as you can see with this bezel, it does have a lot of curves. And you can see how this one curves off into the sunset there. And that's very high polish all the way around. And then we get some nice brushed work here. And here we go with some more car features. This would be I guess a rim here from a car. Looks a little bit more like a starfish in my opinion. I think they could have chosen a bit of a better design for that. I mean, this does, it is an automotive, this is automotive theme. And that does just look a little bit more like a starfish than a rim, but I think we do get the picture. And it's not a coin edge, but more kind of like just again, a very unique style. No problem turning this, by the way. I have no issues with that. And when we press it in and start winding, this is actually the wrong way. This would be the right way. So we put this on the time graph, and as you can see, this is running very, very well at +4 seconds. So the dimensions of the watch are going to be 46.5 wide. We're looking at 40.5 lug to lug, essentially. Well, I guess you can't really say lug to lug. It's going to be the case. The lugs are actually, they really go shoot almost straight down. So I didn't even do a lug to lug, but we certainly can here. Take a look at that. So lug to lug, we're looking at a 40, like a 46. So our lug to lug essentially matches, almost matches our width. Okay. Now when we look at the strap, this does use a thicker strap than usual. It's a 24 millimeter, tapering down to a 20 millimeter. So, and it is a quick change. I do like that a lot. So you just simply take it off with your fingernail and then you put it back on by simply pivoting in there in the lug hole, and you snap it in like so. Now the leather is actually really nice as well. They do this stitching that really mimics an exotic car seat with the stitch work. I do like the job. Very soft leather, and it does pop. I think they did a really nice job on the leather itself. We do get the Atowak logo there as well, along with their branding on the buckle. It's almost like a suede, but it's not. It's not a suede. It's kind of soft like a suede, but it doesn't have the properties of suede. It's just a softer leather than you would typically get. And I think it just goes very well with this watch. So let's take a look at it on wrist. Today I'm actually wearing my Grail watch I just purchased, the Breitling Navi Timer. Stay tuned. I'll be doing a full review of this watch, including my initial reactions from the unboxing. So you definitely want to check that out. All right, so there it is on wrist. Again, guys, I have a 7-inch wrist, and I'll tell you what, like it doesn't feel as odd as I thought it would be, because it's not that heavy. It's 92 grams, okay, and it fits the wrist. It doesn't spill over. It's big this way, and therefore you can wear it further down on your wrist, and it won't interfere. But the only thing odd about it is the fact that its crown is left-hand drive. So for all you lefties out there, this might be a good watch for you. But I'll tell you what, I mean, it's not even as thick as you think it would be. I actually forgot to give you the thickness. It's 13 millimeters thick, so it's basically as thick as your standard diver. And I'll tell you what, it's not heavy, as I said. It's very comfortable on the wrist. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I didn't think this thing would be comfortable on the wrist. I have to admit, it just doesn't look like it would be comfortable. But yet it is. And it's actually easier to tell the time than you would think. I mean, I looked down real quick and it's 11:20. I mean, really, really nifty way. It looks complicated, but it's actually a very simple way of telling the time. So I think they did a really great job. I really tip my cap to them. This is not a watch for everybody. As I said in the beginning, this is definitely one of those watches that you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. And I love it, but it's not for me though. You know, it's not my style of watch. It's something that, yeah, I think it's cool, but you know, it's just not for me. And I think that's okay. It doesn't mean that I don't like the watch. You could like a watch that is not your style, and this is definitely one of those watches, guys. So that's my 2 cents. You can keep the change. Thank you so much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you guys next time on Average Joe Watch Reviews.